Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Tuesday. It's been the theme for the Kansas City Chiefs since, well, the preseason. Next man up. And they've just been finding guys to step up. So far, it's been okay. Would like to see them get some depth, though, in this trade market if they can.
Yeah, and I think that's a possibility, too, because the Chiefs have talked about that, perhaps exploring the market. They have until November the 5th to make a trade. Some of the top receivers that they thought about getting have already gone. One to the Jets and one to the Buffalo Bills, but there are others. And you say, why wide receivers? Well, Juju Smith-Schuster's out for a while with a hamstring problem. That's the interesting thing about the Chiefs, too, Mike, that we've talked about. They've remained injury-free for the most part up until this year, and now they've had a string of them. Well, it's not necessarily good. Now, Jalen Watson, one of the top cornerbacks, is out for a while. There's been no definitive time date set for how long he's gone, but he suffered an ankle injury in the game last week against the 49ers, so he may be out for some time. Then Smith-Schuster with the hamstring, already ruled out for the Raiders game. So the Chiefs will have to do with what they have, either go to the taxi squad or go to the trade market. And you know, DeAndre Hopkins is available, but is he somebody who would really fit their needs? He's long of tooth now, and he's a little on the slow side. And would he fit into the Kansas City scheme? That remains to be seen. I don't think they do.
I don't think. I really don't think that would be a good call. Especially, I don't really think he would fit into the scheme. And also, maybe he might be a little bit of a head. But there's been a lot of talk about hopefully maybe getting Renfro. I've heard that name been thrown around a few times. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes to receivers right now, all the ones that we could have hoped to get are gone. So, really, it's going to be next man up. And if they believe in them, they believe in them. But maybe need to get some depth in some other positions,
Remember now that when the draft has come around, we have always complimented the Chiefs on drafting for depth.
Yep.
And that's what they've done.
And now that's what's paying off. Hopefully that continues to do so. I will say I saw a video Isaiah Pacheco shared yesterday. He's already running on a treadmill. That's pretty cool.
Good, but you got to get the medical clearance.
You don't want to be out on the field yet. So let's talk about the WNBA. These ladies have gotten a little bit more popular. You think they're due a little bit bigger of a paycheck?
Well, they have opted out of the CBA, which is the basic contract with the owners, and that solidifies any deal. They've opted out of it, which means it was to have expired in 2027. It now expires at the end of 2025. So they've up the date just a little bit. The players have said, yeah, we'll play next year. We'll play in 2025. But we want an upgrade in that CBA. And this is interesting because if they don't get it, then it's a work stoppage. Now, can the WNBA afford any kind of a work stoppage? No, I don't know. But you take a look at the salary scale in the women's NBA. Keep in mind now, the NBA, the men's NBA, supplements about 50% of what the WNBA has. All right, the lowest pay in the WNBA is $64,000 a year. By today's standards, that's not very much.
Not a lot of money.
The highest paid player in the WNBA gets $240,000 a year. Again, by men's standards, that's paltry. Ladies say, hey, we should be up there. Question is, should they be? Is their league as timely as the NBA? Do you have the same number of viewers? Well, they did this year because of Caitlin Clark. That did happen. Well, anyway, the ladies get about 10% of the basic income from the WNBA proceeds. The men get 50%, half of it. So who has the more leverage? Something will happen because the ladies know fully well they can't afford not to play. They will next year, 2025, but after that, we'll have some serious negotiations.
Yeah, I think they're going to get at least to maybe a quarter up there, especially if it continues to gain in popularity. They have all the right to ask for that chunk. All right. It's a rivalry that's been going on since Ned was stealing flowers from his neighbor's yards, 1927. It unfortunately stopped in 2019, but the Fighting Irish against Ned's boys in the Navy.
Well, it stopped for a reason, and that the COVID was part of it. But no, they've continued right on. Navy Notre Dame is one of the great rivalries in the country. Has not always been overly competitive. Back when I was a kid, Mike, it was competitive. Navy had great teams, and annually ran Notre Dame out of the ballpark. Well, that's since changed, but be that as it may, this year, for the first time in many years, it is a significant matchup. They play every year. They're playing at MetLife Stadium. New York Giants, New York Jets play there. They always play. They either play it in Philadelphia or Baltimore or one of the big stadium places because Navy Notre Dame draws very, very well. Anyway, they're playing at MetLife Stadium, and this year it's significant because Navy is number 24 in America in the playoff scale. Notre Dame is number 12. Notre Dame cannot afford a loss to the Naval Academy. They are Navy 11.5 point. I beg your pardon, Notre Dame an 11.5 point favorite. That's coming up this Saturday. But for us football purists who follow a lot of college football, that's a big deal. Navy Notre Dame is always a pageant.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it's finally back to a actual competitive matchup. It hasn't been that way for a long time, and that's always the fun ones to watch. So I was surprised, and I'm going to continue to be surprised because usually in the past they do those doubleheaders maybe week 1. Week 2, maybe, and that's it. But now here we are, week 7. We still got double headers happening on Monday Night Football.
Not every Monday night, but they're selected Monday nights, and it's because of a contract, not a dispute, but a complaint by ABC and ESPN. They said, wait a minute, we're paying all this money. We're not getting any primetime games. What is this? And the NFL said, you're right. You aren't getting any. Where can we put another primetime game? Aha. Monday night. So that's where these doubleheaders come from. One's on ESPN, the other's on ABC. It isn't every Monday night, and they've begun to diminish now. I think they may have 1 or 2 more Monday nights before the season's over. Had one last night, and the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played in one of those games. The Ravens were behind 10-0. And scored 34 unanswered points. Lamar Jackson throwing 5 touchdown passes. Derrick Henry running for 169 yards in the NFL. That's incredible. 169 yards. Baltimore 41, Tampa Bay 31, and Tampa Bay lost some key players. Los Angeles Chargers, Arizona Cardinals played out at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. Really good game. And get this, Mike, you'll love this. The Los Angeles Chargers scored 15 points, and they were all field goals. They scored no touchdowns. Arizona wins the game 17-15 on a field goal with no time remaining. So the Arizona Cardinals and the other birds, the Baltimore Ravens, come away with victories on a Monday night doubleheader.
When the St. Louis Blues play tonight, there is a new TV network that used to be called Bally Sports, and now it is
FanDuel Sports.
What do you think about this gambling stuff getting involved in your TV schedule, my friend?
I am undecided, and I'll say that from a personal viewpoint. Does it need to really be on TV and marketed this way? I'm going to vote. I will tell you, I'm going to vote for it on the ballot when it comes up next week. But the fact of the matter remains, I don't think it needs to be shoved down our throats this way. Anyway, this is the contract, the new contract, and FanDuel bought the contract from Bally Sports, or Diamond Sports as it was called, yesterday. So it went into effect yesterday. Well, the St. Louis Blues immediately signed on. They play tonight, so they will be the first of the Missouri teams on FanDuel Sports. Will the Cardinals be on? That is a very good question because the Cardinals have not confirmed nor denied anything about that. They're taking a wait-and-see attitude. I have a feeling the Cardinals may not join this, may come down and market their own product, but that's a personal thought. I don't know that'll happen.
Last but not least, a very battle-torn Missouri Tigers are going to have to prove their worth this weekend against the Tide, who is also a wounded animal after their loss. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. What do you think?
Well, I think I agree with you. I think it will be too. But for Missouri, who dropped a couple of points, even though they won over Auburn,
not good enough.
The manner in which they won, they had to come from behind to do it, and Auburn's not very good. And they had to come from behind in other games. Should not have beaten Vanderbilt. Missouri was lucky to get out of that game. Anyway, the Tigers now face the big test, and Missouri really has to win this game to be considered for being part of the championship, the 12-team championship playoff. Well, Missouri goes to Tuscaloosa on Saturday afternoon at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and Mike, they only have 103,000 people in that stadium for the game. It will be an afternoon game. They'll kick it off at 2:30, Missouri, Alabama, and at this hour, Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite over Mizzou. That may be a little bit high. Alabama probably should be a slight favorite in this one, but we'll see what happens. Missouri's a resilient team. They came from behind, 14 points down to Auburn, and won with their quarterback coming off the sidelines, injured and playing the hero's role. So anything can happen, and we will probably find that out on Saturday.
Definitely will, Ned, and hopefully you can make the right picks this weekend. I'll see you tomorrow.